Money, success brings out your true nature, not poverty. When you have money and you are humble, that is your real state. That is who you are. When you do not have money and you are humble, you have been humbled by life.
If you don't have money or influence, you're more or less seen as a lesser part of the society. Like you're not regarded to so much high esteem. So people want to feel that sense of, okay, I'm important. I have something I can contribute to.
So, guys, there are some news that are so unexpected that when you see that headline, you'll be like, wait, what? That can't be real. Well, today's episode is based on one of such stories. We've not done a based on a news story episode in a while, so today we're delving into it. This one was sent to me by my very, very good friend, Mr. Ade. So check this out. Just imagine that you were at Bristol Airport, UK, frustrated with the check-in queue process, or maybe you're dragging your suitcase full of all the shenanigans that you're going to go and do on holiday, maybe like Mr. Morris. And there is a man that is standing beside you, helping some old people get into a wheelchair. And that guy looks oddly familiar. He's smiling, wearing his high vis jacket. And wait a second, you're like, this guy really looks familiar. This guy, is this not that guy, the manager that was sacked from Swansea Football Club and a few months ago? Now, this was the story. Apparently, a passenger spotted a former lower divisions coach of Swansea named Luke Williams. He was helping unable and disabled people at the airport. This guy was one of the, all those kind of young managers that was on the touchline, was very, very ferocious, pacing the touchline in football stadium. And right now, he is guiding passengers to their gate. And here is the interesting part of the story I would like to yarn about, because this is Kata Yarn. He actually chose that job. Not because he needed the money, because he's still getting paid while on gardening leave, not because he was blacklisted from football, but because, in his own words, he needed routine, he needed purpose. Now, to me, this messes up the idea of the traditional idea of success, where, you know, to be successful, you have to keep going higher and higher and higher. So we're going to be scattering the yarns of this. Anyways, welcome back to Scatter Yarn Podcast. Hope you're having a beautiful and fantastic day. I'm your guy and host, we know the boast, Dr. Toves. And today we are going to be asking a very, very bold question. Are some people just too big to be humble? And joining me to scatter yarn about this are my guys, your guys, Mr. Nelson, the Pizzo for Shizzle, catching fire quicker than a diesel. How are you feeling today, my guy?
You know, what we're supposed to say is Pizu for Shizu Manizo, the nigga that catches fire faster than a diesel. But yeah, today it's been raining all day. And, it's a cool weather out here, so we won't be catching too much fire. But trust me to come with the spark. Let's do this.
Please welcome back Dr. Morris, living life with no worries and doesn't smoke St. Morris.
I'm not sure about the living life with no worries at the moment, because sometimes those worries tend to creep in every now and then, but we try to manage it as best as we can. But yeah, so far so
Oh,
good.
okay.
It's good to be back.
But you're enjoying some luxuries.
Uh,
No?
yeah, if you say so.
And we are here again. Sorry, welcome back as well, Mr. Ade, that doesn't like to party, but likes to drink his latte. How are you feeling today, sir?
I'm feeling very well, Dr. Tools. I'm feeling very well. Looking forward to it. Speaking of party is gone. That's made me a bit sad. But it is what it is. Let's do this.
Right, so I'll start with this. I think a lot of us love the idea of humility, apart from Mr. Nelson, but we also want Loki. We want people to know that we are being humble. So my question to let's start with Morris. My question to you is this: when you hear that a former football manager is now working at the airport by choice, what's your honest first reaction? And before you go for, I still have some follow up questions. So a full package.
Okay.
And deeper than that, why do people tend to equate progress or moving forward with upward mobility or always climbing up? And finally, can you step down? Sorry, can a step down be a step forward? So three questions in one. Honest reaction, equating progress with upward mobility, and can a step down be a step forward? What do you have to say about this, sir?
Can a step down be a step forward? Ah, it's a very
We'll
difficult
get there.
question. Let me go diplomatic as usual. I think uh, it it depends on what you're stepping down from, right? Uh,
From being a football manager and being an airport person, just pushing people to the gate, disabled people, that kind of step down.
but again, some people might not see that necessarily as a step down. I could
I
argue
agree.
that pushing someone, it's like performing a service to humanity, and it's quite a noble and humbling and a lot more um, worthy cause as opposed to just running around the field chasing 22 men. So we could say that,
Yeah,
right?
Dr. Morris, look, by now we know you like to sit on the fence, okay? And I like all this beautiful signaling. But we're talking about in general, a lot of people will see that as a step down. You know, the reason why this news went viral in the first place is because someone took a picture of him and said, look at
You
this
know,
coach, he's pushing
funny
people,
enough,
you know?
something similar
Uh-huh.
happened. I don't know if you remember this ref that was, I think he was sacked.
Yes,
Is it David Coote
yes,
or something? Um,
yeah, David Coates,
and
yes, it's now a package
exactly.
deliver.
So
Yeah.
it was the same kind of reaction where people were
But that one is different. He was blacklisted. It's a fall from
like,
grace.
okay.
This one, he chose to do it.
Which even makes my point when I say that it's a noble cause, right? The fact that you decide to remember he's not just standing around doing some, I don't know, he's actually performing a service to people that you know needs access to mobility and support. So I think he might have a personal motivation for that, and I think that's honorable.
Okay, I will leave Mr. Dr. Morris on his fans. Please, Ade, why do some people tend to equate success with only moving forward? Okay, if I should borrow some of Morris's
Mm.
language, he said this guy chose it's a service to humanity. Surely that should be considered success in a way as well. But obviously, we know that the world that we live in, majority of people will see that as a step down, and so can that also be a step forward in a way?
Yeah, there's no doubt. A lot of people see it as a step down. I didn't even hear of this David Coates thing, which is sad for him, I suppose. But with this ref, with this coach, when I first opened the article, I thought, wow, what happened to this? But I felt bad for him. I felt sad for him, which speaks a lot for my mindset. That for me, I felt, well, if you go from a job where you're getting paid six figures to something where you're getting paid peanuts, then your life is not going well. And like you said, majority of people would think that. So I think it says a lot about human mentality and human expectations, societal norms. Yeah, I'll leave it there for
Hmm.
now.
Yeah, fair. No, no, you're right. Because
I
also
don't
when I
think
first saw, yeah, go on.
Oh no, I
so. I
wasn't.
agree with
Oh,
all what you're saying, bro. I honestly do not think it is strange to feel the way you are feeling because we know we know what the pay of a manager is. We know the exposure the manager has. We know the influence he has, the number of people he's managing. Then I would not say reduced, but you are now doing something that doesn't require so much of a skill, just empathy. You know, it's don't let's use the word degrading because we have to be respectful to the people that actually do not have a choice,
Yeah, but
but they are in that situation.
managing players too also required empathy. Just want to throw that in there as well.
Yeah, well, the complete sentence was it doesn't require so much of a skill, it requires only empathy, unlike being a manager.
You need people's
That was
skills.
the
As a
complete
manager,
sentence
you
I
have
said.
people's skills. Yeah, people's skills as a manager is also transferred to, helping those other people as well. Yeah, you know.
See, you know what comes to mind when we're talking about a topic
Uh,
like this, right? I
Yes.
remember just recently I had a discussion with a friend of mine, and she used to work as a okay. Let me not be specific about the job. She used to work a job that, by most standards, people would say, okay, it's not the most glamorous job. So it's like a menial hourly paid job of sort, right? And
Mhm.
she later was opportune to get a better job according to her standards, more like an office role. It's like a white collar job, better pay and everything. But she kept making a statement that I don't want to go back to the previous job. I am above the job, right? And when I heard the comment, I was like, I understand that you may not prefer that particular job because yes, you feel like you deserve better, but the fact that you're saying you are above the job, it means that you're some in some way putting the people that are doing that job beneath you. I said
Mhm.
it's a beautiful thing that you've upskilled and you've advanced to a stage where you want to be, but downgrading people or looking down on other jobs is where the problem is for me. So, which is why I was saying that, and again, it shouldn't necessarily matter what job he's doing as long as he's comfortable and happy with the job. So, which, yeah.
No, no, I kind of agree with that, and everyone, even Nelson. Sorry for cutting you short as well, but I know we're all making the same point that, to a lot of people that hearing the story, it will feel like he's falling off, he's failed. But then the question is, what does that say about us? Because we don't talk about that enough in society. That status addiction. We are hooked onto progress, like Morris's friend saying he cannot go back to that job, just focusing on the next big move and appearing that we're always leveling up. And anything that feels like a step down, we treat it like a crisis. So there's someone that called this kind of mentality status anxiety, which is the constant fear of not being seen as successful by others, and it's why we stay in jobs that we hate, or even if you're like you hate the job but you're making money, so you just stay there, or you pretend that you're busy when you're burnt out. It is. But this guy chose to do something different. Try to do something that doesn't require too much high intensity. He's on gardening leave. He can choose to stay at home and enjoy himself, but he chose not to do that. Instead, he still wanted that routine. He still wanted a purpose. Wanted to show again, according to the article in the Athletic, he wanted to show his son that every day you should have a structure and meaning, and that's powerful as well because sometimes is what you want to have that purpose. You want to be also be respected, but at the same time, it's about you, not about others. You should not be focusing too much on what others think, what people will say. But as a man, I can relate to structure, leaving the house, not wanting to stay at home. But on the other hand, as someone that's been conditioned by society, I still want some kind of respect, because we know that as men, there are lots of people that are conditioned for their identity to be linked to their work, right? Not just what they do, but how that job is respected. So if they lose that job, they lose that title, they lose their prestige, they lose the perception of their success, and then that could make them basically end up losing themselves. So I'm going to throw this to you again, Dr. Morris, because I know you have not a lot of time with us. Why do you think people fear starting again, especially when they've made it in the eyes of society?
That's a very interesting. Why do they fear starting again?
Especially when they've people think that they've made it.
Okay, let me speak for myself, right? I
Mm,
can't really say so much for people. Maybe as I'm speaking, I might have an idea or two. But why would I want to start again if um, I've already attained a particular level? It's like going back. Number one, I think it's all about the time and effort we've put into achieving a certain level, right? So we've spent a lot of time. So, like you mentioned earlier, the natural thing would be, progression. We want to see that constant progression, or at least not. We don't want to experience stagnation whereby you're just in one place and all, right? There's this need for
mhm,
constant improvement. So I think if people fall back to a previous state, it's kind of feels like you're not improving in terms of, for example, if you look at personal goals, self-actualization, right? We want to achieve certain level, whether it's income that you'll be comfortable with. So to go back feels like you're not progressing in a way. So I think that might be one reason why I personally might be very concerned about going back to a stage I'm not comfortable, right? So
Yes.
so yeah, I think that's one. But I think also another, in terms of generally speaking, we have a status problem generally around the world, right? And also in our
Hmm.
part of the world, there's this: if you don't have money or influence, you're more or less seen as a lesser um, part of the society. Like, you're not regarded to so much high esteem. So people also want to feel that sense of, okay, I'm important. I have something I can contribute, whether or not it's, in terms of financially speaking, or just status in terms of what they do or the type of work they do. People want that. And also, just before I go off on tangent, and that's the reason why in certain parts of the world you will see that most jobs are regarded with high esteem. Like, for example, if you're a street cleaner, for example, it's like, oh no, it's not very important, right? But then if you're a medical doctor, oh, this person saves life, it's a very good cause. So I think the fact that a lot of people appreciate something also makes people want that thing the more. So I think that might be one reason. I don't know.
Mm. All right. Same question to you, Ogade.
Hmm. I agree with a lot of what Maurice said for that one. Why do people fear starting again? I think it depends on the nature of that starting again. If you are starting again because, of a fall from grace, like David Coates, that's a double whammy. So shout out to him for going out delivering packages to the public. But if you ask this guy, this manager person that is the case study today, is not really like what he's doing. Honestly, I don't find it. I respect it, but it's not such a big deal compared to what David Coates is doing because this guy is still on his manager money. He's just bored. That's why he's going out working 1 hour from Wales to wherever to go and work. It's nothing like shout out to him for not sitting at home wasting his life. But why do people fear it? Ego, simple as that. Ego. Like Maurice said, we attach our personality, we attach our ego to these jobs. And if that goes, sadly enough, we begin to cry. So shout out to people like Zacchaeus, chief tax collector, that gave up half half his wealth, he gave it back to everybody is no to the poor. Then the other rest he gave it to the people he's defrauded. And he will have had to
Mm.
start again from chief tax collector to a nobody.
Okay, and let me flip this a bit before I come to Nelson because Maurice said he's like if you have seen as you have made it, why would you want to start again? And then that's why sometimes I try to bring it from a man's perspective because I was talking to a lady. I'm not going to say where I met this lady or anything, but I was talking to a lady, and she left a particular job, went to a higher paying job, and she was made redundant in the high paying job. Her position was made redundant, wanted to make her like a vice president of a very, very multinational organization. But she said the responsibility would have been too much. So came back down to the job she left in the first place to go to the higher paying job. So to me, that is a way of starting again. And I said to her, like if that's the difference between men and women. Because I was like, if, as me as a man, I would have taken the vice president, forget about the responsibilities and all those things. Because again, I think mentally, as a man, I think it's about like stepping up and moving higher. But she's just like, this is too much. I'm okay with the one that I can do. I don't want any more stress in my life. It's just a different kind of mindset change. But anyways, let's come back to Nelson before I digress too much. Nelson, let me flip the question a bit. Do you think it's harder to stay humble after success than it is to be humble before you were successful? Like in general, not you per
So,
se, in general.
so personally, before I became a success, before I made it, I was humble. And now that I'm a successful person, I am still humble. So, I, so this was my,
Yeah. Yeah.
this
That's why
was
I said
my,
that I said that's why I said not to you personally.
Mm.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So this has always been my personal rule that anything I'm not going to accept when I make it in life, I will reject it now that I am broke. So before I became a successful person, I already had the mindset that there are some certain things that When I get to where I'm going to, I would not want to accept. I will find disrespectful. So I don't see it as pride. I see it as a level of self confidence and self awareness, knowing yourself. Okay, um, I can't take this. I find this disrespectful, or I find this demeaning. So that has always been my thought process. So when I became successful, it wasn't so much of a change. People were already used to me. You understand?
Mhm.
Is it that you don't believe that I'm successful? But
Okay, why are you judging yourself?
you people were laughing
No, no, it's
now.
the way you
I
said
wanted to
it.
get the joke.
It's what you were saying. Or do you not believe yourself that you're successful? Maybe that's more of the important
I
question.
am. Yeah. So yeah. Well, you said to why do people find it hard to go back to the start?
No, no,
It's
I
I
flipped the
don't,
question now. I'm like, why is it hard
yeah,
for people to stay humble after success than when before they made it, basically? You
bro.
know, because
Is see, bro. It's very easy. It's very easy. Money, success brings out your true nature,
Mm.
not poverty. It is. It is. It, everybody knows it. When you have money, you that is your real, and you are humble. That is your real state. That is who you are. When you do not have money and you are humble, you have been humbled by life.
I have
Do you understand?
wait.
Not that I'm saying that it is a one way street that everybody that
we
makes it
understand, yeah.
is not, yeah. But I'm saying that more often than not, don't blame these people. So that's why people like I myself, when we were not yet successful, there were things that we don't accept. Like you don't chat to
I
me
have
anyhow.
a
Dr.
slightly
Toves.
different approach to what you just said. Maybe money doesn't really reveal the true nature, right? I think that maybe money exposes you to other sides that you've not experienced yet. So, for example, they say there's a saying that you never know what you are missing until it arrives. So, if you've gotten to a certain level that you've now had that power, influence, and influx of financial funds, at your disposal, it exposes you to a certain type of lifestyle. So people tend to treat you with more respect and so on. So with that comes a little bit of, I don't know, ego trip. You start to learn more about yourself that you didn't know was there before. So I don't know. I feel like money just exposes you. It doesn't really bring out the true nature because I, I don't know. I think yeah.
So the reason why I will agree with Morris is because Morris is somebody that came from money and has always been in money, so he can't relate. I am talking from the perspective of somebody that did not have money and now I have money. You know, so
Please, okay, I can see that you want to chime in there.
No, no, no. No, I'll keep my words to
I don't
myself.
know where Nelson got the idea that
Please
I
don't
came
keep it.
from money. And last year, I don't know who gave me that impression, oh, but I think I don't know. I think it's just one of those things that comes with the territory. It's like you get exposed to a certain lifestyle, and you're like, okay, yeah, I didn't know it was this good. So to
yeah, yeah.
No,
So
I
yeah, you are very
think you
correct. Yeah, but I just think that we are saying the same thing with different.
yeah,
We are saying the same thing with different sentences because there's a
different
level of
perspective.
money that you have. Yeah, different perspectives, but we're saying the same thing. There's a level of money that you have that. So let's use this scenario. Yeah, there's a level of money that you have that you would think you would not see business class and first class as luxury. You would see it as traveling. There's also a level of money you will have that you would see business class and first class as a burden. You would rather the private jet because
yeah.
you can afford it. Yeah. So it's not exactly not bringing out the real you. It's just making it easy for you to be yourself.
Trying to
Like when you have money, it's easier for you to be yourself when you have money. basically.
No,
Because if you don't,
Okay.
I think we are conflating the conversation. We are right. What you can afford and how you treat people, or how, because humility is not afford what you can afford. Right? You can be in a private jet and be humble. You can be business class and be humble. You can be in economy class.
so
You
my
can
example,
use and
my
you can be
example
in
might have
first
been
class
wrong.
and be humble. Yeah.
Yeah, my example might have been wrong. My example might not have hit the nail on the head. But the perspective I was trying to paint is that money actually gives you room to be yourself. I should have just said that instead of giving that
That's
example.
a perfect
Do you
summary.
understand? Money gives you the room to be yourself. Like I feel like doing this right now. I'm going to do this right now. Like on a normal day, I probably will not slap somebody because they stepped on me. But if I'm not humble, if I'm not a humble person and I have money and I see that person is beneath me, you probably might get a slap.
Or two.
Mm.
But if I didn't have the money, if I didn't have the money, I would be reasonable. I might be angry, like the pride will still show, like hints of it will show that why would you step on me and I will drag it over and over. Why will you do something? Didn't you see my leg? So that's what I was saying about rejecting what you will not accept when you are rich.
No, I get you, and I think the best, the even better summary from everything that's been said is that humility is being yourself. Humility is having a sense of control over what you're doing, basically. Because if you go back to the case point, not necessarily a case study, the guy chose not to sit down in his hands and wait for the next big coaching job because he's getting paid. He can relax. But instead, he went to just go and do something to help other people in the service. I don't know if maybe he's getting the money and giving to charity. I don't know. But what he said is he did it for purpose and to have more routine, because obviously he used to wake up early as a manager. He don't want to just sleep and slub away. Instead, he went to imagine this guy lives in probably Wales, because he's the coach of was coaching Swansea, and he was taking the bus
So
from
what,
Newport in Wales to England, Bristol, England, to go and work in the airport every day, waking up before 5 o'clock to get the bus to go. Again, I'm sure he has a car, he can drive, but he chose to use the bus. Again, it's just regimented, pacing himself. So to me, that humility is coming as a form of self-control. He doesn't care about the hype. He doesn't care what people will think when he's entering those bus, waking up in the morning. He's just doing what he wants to do and staying humble at the same time.
can I add something? Yeah.
Please add or ask, whichever one.
Yeah, I think it's hard or ask, yeah, but it's an opinion. I think humility in itself has a level of pride in it. Like you guys
No,
could look at it.
only you earlier said it's self-confidence and self-control. It's self-confidence, pride. Because I don't want you to now don't want to overcomplicate it and then destroy
No,
it.
let
It's
let
not.
let let
I'm
him
modeling.
bring it.
I'm, I'm modeling it up because so let's look at it from the perspective of this coach now. That because you know why I'm saying this, yeah. I
No.
want to believe that there are a lot of jobs that I could have bagged with his CV that will
Mhm.
still give him that routine. Do you understand? There are a lot of jobs he could have bagged with his CV as the coach of Swansea. He will open quite a number of jobs, quite a
Mhm.
number of doors. He could have even chosen to get a job at Swansea, like the club Swansea, that is not a managerial job, but he explains to them in HR that I just need to keep routine and I need to do something or so. You understand? But he
Mhm.
chose to do that for reasons best known to him. Like he said, he wanted routine. Like
Mhm.
for instance, I have a friend,
And
yeah.
to show his son that you need to have like a standard, basically, and keep
Okay.
to it.
Oh, he put the family thing into it. Okay, then that crowns
Yes.
it all now. If you are living because okay, yeah, makes sense then. Maybe he was in a house that he needed to. He understands the purpose of example, leading by example, and
Mm.
his child now cannot relate to the fact that every day daddy's waking up and doing nothing, but I have to go to school. So he probably did it for family's sake, just to be a good mentor to his child. Like there's no do not downgrade anybody. I could be the coach tomorrow, and I could also be a gardener today. So do not disrespect or downplay anybody because of what they do. So that probably might have been a lesson he was trying to imbibe in his son, but in turn became a public news because they don't know how to mind their business.
Okay.
Yes, which is the core of the question now. Now the guy is doing his own thing. He didn't post anything, but it seems that some people enjoy people falling from grace. The person who took the selfie probably did it to get his own likes and to try to downgrade the guy, not knowing the guy was doing something within his own control. He chose it in the first place. So
So, so don't say it like that. You could say,
how should I say it?
bad news spreads faster than good news.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm sure when you got the job, the news did not, it wasn't headline news that former airport attendant now a coach, because he got another coaching job. Do you understand? I'm sure it didn't make headline. So people just like bad
No,
news. You get what I'm saying?
down
People are just,
downfall.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they are
yeah,
excited about bad news. It moves like wildfire. Like
yeah,
you get
yeah.
the person that recorded it and did all of that probably did it for views, content, and whatever reason he did it. But he was sure it would fly because of the kind of people he was selling the news to.
And he
You
flew.
understand?
Yeah. You want to say something before
Yeah.
I kind of like cut you
Oh
off?
no, it's okay. I don't know this guy's name. I'm just going to call him Luke.
Luke Williams.
I
Look,
was
look,
going
look,
to say
Luke
it
Williams.
looked like a Luke. Anyway, let's not be too quick to make him out as a saint. Okay, I don't think I
We're not
would.
making. I'm not making him out as a saint. Again, it's just like I'm connecting different societal elements from the story, not necessarily him per
Okay, I
se.
won't lie. I think he's a bit of a saint. I'm just trying to be controversial, but there's so many
All
reasons why I
right.
could have taken that job. For me, if I was on six figures a year, I'll be
He might not even be on six figures. He's a Division Two
no,
manager.
no.
It's not any
From
Premier
from
League
what I
money.
read in that article, even in championship, you get good bucks. It's from lower
Yeah,
than that.
good box, good box.
Not for coaches, maybe players, but not for coaches.
Well, it will be earning a decent amount. I think
Yeah, very
very
decent amount.
decent
Yes.
amount, if not three figure. Anyway, yeah, if I was having that too, I'll do anything. I will pack toilet. I will, help the poor. I will do all sorts because I know bottom line, my six figure is still coming in. So any other thing is lost. If I was Bill Gates, I'll go and work in McDonald's because I know at any time I can throw the hot oil in their face and say I'm going.
Yeah.
But
No, that's true because he's on gardening leave. As soon as gardening leave is done, I'm sure
he has
he'll get
something
another
lined
job
up.
if he wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whether I was going there to set example, whether his office wife lives in Bristol, who knows? Who knows? Uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, he will know that if anyone should catch him outside, yeah, possibility to go viral, and it has. So hey, happy days, and it's a good story in his next job.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that. And I think the real story for me isn't that Luke is working at an airport, but is that he's watching, he's learning, he's resettling, he's connecting with service. Like I said, in the airport, he could have done different any role. Is it Nelson that said it? He could have done any managerial role or anything at the airport, but he chose to be the one that helps like the disabled people, push them to
Oh,
the
okay. So
gates.
he was helping disabled people.
Yeah, people
Was
That's
that
his
who
job at the
work.
airport.
that's to me is quite fulfilling. It could have been a therapist that advised him. It could have been anything, man. Because I I I like to think I'm an humanitarian because you know how
So
I,
Nelson, quit your
yeah.
office job and go and push wheelchair. Oh yeah, go and fulfill yourself.
Okay. No,
No, that's why I like. He said, "I like to think I am. I like to think."
Ah,
yeah.
Go
okay.
on then.
I like to think I'm an humanitarian because there's this thing that they don't do it in this part of the world where they give you some tests, they give you some surveys, and they can tell your inmate instincts. Like they can tell, okay, this person has survival instincts, he has instincts to save people. I think if protective instincts and whatnot, I think if I took any of those tests, I'm going to pass as an humanitarian because
Right.
because I like to help people. Honestly, I honestly like to help people, and
Mm.
I don't see that as a fault. I'm proud of it. So if it was helping disabled people, because I've been in that situation before where I had a broken leg and I was traveling by air and I needed to be wheeled to the plane. and all that. And before the trip, I was actually overwhelmed. Like I was thinking, how am I going to get into that plane with all the whole airport brouhaha and whatnot? And some airport attendants came and they offered, oh, give me your crutches, you can sit down here, and they moved me around. And I was shocked that we had that kind of service in this part of the world. So left to me, it's not. I'm not saying that it is something I would do. Don't quote me tomorrow. But I'm saying I could understand his willingness to want to help people. Maybe he
Yeah.
has
So
thought
where's
that
your
okay, everything,
humanitarian
e-
nature?
e- yeah. So we all have our capacity. He is probably 100 and I am 20.
Right. So
Calm down,
let's
calm down.
let's round it up with some would you rather question. With some would you rather question. First one is, would you rather people assume you're struggling because your job looks ordinary in quote, or assume you're arrogant because your title sounds impressive? Again, for those listening via audio, would you rather people assume you're struggling because your job looks ordinary, or that people should assume you're arrogant because your job title sounds impressive? Which situation
um,
would you rather be in?
I choose the second situation. Because if people think I'm arrogant because my job sounds juicy, my job is juicy. That's people. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if
Mhm.
people are thinking that I'm arrogant because my job sounds it sounds like whatever it is I'm doing is what, like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
a tech bro. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's because it's juicy. Do
Mhm.
you understand? So I
Yeah.
would rather be in that bracket. Let them think what they think. Then I'll prove it to them that I'm a humanitarian and show them love.
All right, please, okay.
I think I'll go for the first one. What was the first one again?
Would
You
you
this
rather people
pope.
assume you're struggling because your job looks ordinary?
Yes, the simple answer. Yeah, I want to be like a reformed Zacchaeus. So they'll be like,
All
"Oh,
right.
look at that guy is in the sun," and people like Nelson would then show me love and feed me and yeah, yeah.
So are you saying you are a clown? I don't have
Anyway,
anything to say to you.
What?
Zacchaeus.
well,
You see me, you assume I'm suffering, and yeah, feed me 3 square
Okay,
meals, clothe me.
for instance,
Whatever.
yeah,
Like bro,
I could relate. I could relate, yeah, because for Lagos that year, I remember that one time somebody told me that he showed me a tout. These guys that collect money from buses, and he just showed me that the guy has two houses in this area, from all these chasing buses and collecting 50 naira and 30 naira. I wouldn't do that. You understand? I wouldn't do that. But I can relate to Zacchaeus here. You get me?
all right, cool. Well, I would rather people assume that I'm struggling because my job looks ordinary. Again, they are assuming that I'm struggling. They are assuming that my job is ordinary,
hmm
but I might be good.
exactly.
So keep assuming away. That's
They will
my
now be
my
buying you coffee,
my
paying your transport, saving, putting
exactly.
money in your
Buy me
pocket.
shirt and trouser
Thank
and
you,
yes.
humanitarian Mr. Nelson. May God bless you.
That's why we are
Yeah.
here. The likes of Elon Musk and myself. That's why we are here. We'll give
All
back.
right, cool. Yeah. Yeah. The
It
final would
is
you rather question for today is, would you rather take a job that feels beneath your level but restores your routine, or wait indefinitely for something that matches your last role?
a job. First sentence. A job that.
Feels beneath your routine, beneath your level, but restores a job that feels beneath your level but restores your routine, or wait indefinitely for something that matches your last role.
These are
So it
two.
depends on my current financial status at the time you ask the question.
Yes, let's assume that you were jobless for 3 months.
Jeez.
In what part of the world?
Whichever part of the world you want to be in.
And what job was I doing before this
I
joblessness?
don't know. What put yourself there.
You know why
You
I'm
can
asking
imagine
all
it.
these questions? You know why I'm
I
asking all
don't
these
know.
questions?
I don't
I
know.
will tell you. I will tell you. We all on this pod now. I just agreed that whatever job that coach was doing was giving him six figures. You get me? and he stopped the job for a bit.
He was
I
sacked.
want to. No, it wasn't. Oh,
He was
If
sacked.
he's on garden
it
leave, then
was.
yes, he was kicked out.
Yes,
Uh,
he was sacked.
uh,
So is basically, sometimes when they sack you from this managerial job, they will say, "Don't go. You cannot work within this particular period of time." So in that time is when you went to go and start working in the airport.
mm,
Hmm.
Plot twist.
Please.
okay, okay. Because uh,
Are you going to
okay,
tell me which one you rather do or not?
okay. So yeah. So yeah. Sometimes the way you guys coin these words, dismissal is the same as sack, yeah.
Yes.
Duh. Yes.
But why are they calling it a gardening leave?
That is it. Your gardening, basically your planting, you're sowing seeds. You cannot look for job. You cannot grow. As in, you just people are just looking for you to say, okay,
Sit
um,
down at home.
yeah, there's a potential that you're
So
going to get this job, but you cannot go and take the job. You know,
okay, so I want to believe that okay, if it was sacked, I want to believe that there are some allowances that were paid for this
okay, which
gardening leave
one?
to stand.
Yes, he's still collecting
No,
salary.
ah,
Yes, they are paying you now. As a manager, when they terminate your contract, they have to pay your finish. They have to finish paying your contract now.
Mm.
have you
So
guys have you guys sat to think that this guy was running away from his wife?
That's why I said maybe he had someone he was going to meet in Bristol or something. Maybe. Hmm. Or yes.
Have you guys start to think that this guy
okay,
is
time
probably
is going.
time is going, time is going, and time is going. I don't have an answer because left to me, yeah, all these options that you have put up, all these options that you have put up here, I could sit at home if I'm still getting paid. If I'm still
Yes,
getting
but
paid,
now
I,
this
I had
this
a,
one
I had
in
a,
this would you rather you don't have a job, you've been jobless for 3 months, you're not getting any income. So would you rather take a job that feels beneath your level but restores your routine, or wait, your routine now could be just you paying your bills, living, whatever, or wait indefinitely for something that matches your last role? Remember, the first sentence is beneath your level. The next sentence is wait for something that matches your last role.
Okay, I'll take the first sentence because waiting indefinitely makes it weird. But I'm taking, that's the only reason why I'm taking the first sentence. But left
Mm.
to me, there's nothing wrong with, like, I got sacked. I was making money. I saved enough that could save me for 6 months. So why am I rushing to get something beneath my routine, like beneath my current job? I will aspire to get something better. Everybody wants to get better. I'll probably be looking at going to coach Man City next, buff up my CV, make it, that you get me. So, but in a situation where I have to wait indefinitely, if I see I don't see, sometimes it brings disrespect. Then your wife
Don't go
start
and start.
that
Don't go and start
you don't know
coaching
what
goalkeeper stars. Be there waiting
you
for
understand.
Man City. Please, which one are
There
you
are,
going
there are
to
stars
rather
in
choose?
there are stars in Guarimpa.
They have a football club, yes.
Are they stars?
Coach them, you make them stars.
Uh,
Please,
Apologies
which one are you
to
I'm
choosing?
in
my
Bob
boys in
Marley's
Guarimpa.
Bob Marley's camp. I don't want to wait in vain for something that won't come. Um, but again, who has routine helped? I don't know. What's the big deal about routine? But you said it that routine could be paying bills, etc. Well, you already know where I stand on this. So just for podcast sake, I'll take the first one. But
Hmm, fair enough.
yeah,
Yes. I'll let
I knew
the
that,
audience decide what you'd
I
rather
knew
do.
that in our last episode, he told the fans that he's about to quit his job.
you already know where I stand. Carry on.
Yes. So let me land the plane. Pun fully intended. What I take from Luke's story and from our conversation so far isn't just about career flexibility. Is that purpose is a choice, not a platform. And ego gets expensive when you use it to buy respect. And
Hmm.
that's it for today's episode of Scatteryan Podcast. If the story made you pause, think, share it to someone who's wrestling with identity, career, or ego. They might need a reminder that being too big to be humble is just another form of being too scared to start again. All right. So until then, please, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening on any of the audio platforms, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Boomplay, etc., please rate the episode and also leave a review if you're vibing with the yams that we're speeding. And hey, until next time, please stay safe, stay curious, use your brain. SCFR. Peace.